The Battle of Berlin was a crucial military engagement during World War II, occurring from April 16 to May 2, 1945, between the Axis forces, primarily Nazi Germany, and the Allies, primarily the Soviet Union. After the Vistula-Oder offensive of January to February 1945, the Red Army had temporarily halted on a line 60 kilometers or 37 miles east of Berlin. On the 9th of March, Germany established its defense plan for the city with Operation Clausewitz. The first defensive preparations at the outskirts of Berlin were made on the 20th of March, under the newly appointed commander of Army Group Vistula, General Gotthard Heinrichi. The strategic objective of the battle was to capture the German capital, Berlin, which held immense symbolic and strategic significance. Its capture would essentially mark the defeat of Nazi Germany and the end of the war in Europe. The Soviet Red Army, commanded by Marshal Georgy Zhukov, played a central role in this offensive, showcasing its immense strength and determination to bring the war to a close. The Soviets amassed a colossal force, with over 2.5 million soldiers involved in the offensive. They were well equipped with artillery, tanks, and air support. The German defenders, led by General Helmut Weidling, faced a dire situation. They were significantly outnumbered, lacking supplies, and dealing with low morale due to the deteriorating situation. The Germans had fortified defensive positions, making use of natural barriers like the river Oder and the city's defensive structures to try and delay the Soviet advance. The Soviets initiated a massive assault on Berlin, pushing through the initial defensive lines and encircling the city, applying relentless pressure on the German defenses. The battle soon turned into brutal urban warfare, with both sides engaged in intense street-to-street fighting. The densely populated and heavily built-up city posed significant challenges for both attackers and defenders. Berlin suffered extensive damage due to the fierce fighting and heavy bombardment. Civilian casualties were high, and infrastructure was severely affected. During 1945, the United States Army Air Forces launched very large daytime raids on Berlin and, for 36 nights in succession, scores of Royal Air Force Mosquitoes bombed the German capital, ending on the night of the 21st of April 1945, just before the Soviets entered the city. Adolf Hitler and his close aides were located in his underground bunker, where they continued to direct operations despite the deteriorating situation. On May 2, 1945, General Weidling surrendered the city to the Soviets, effectively ending the battle and bringing the war in Europe closer to its conclusion. On April 30, 1945, Adolf Hitler committed suicide in his bunker as the battle for Berlin raged on. Some German units continued to resist for a few days after the fall of Berlin, but organized defense had essentially collapsed, and the outcome was inevitable. The fall of Berlin marked the imminent collapse of Nazi Germany, leading to the unconditional surrender of all German forces on May 7, 1945. After the battle, Berlin was divided into 4 occupation zones, each administered by one of the Allied powers: the Soviet Union, the United States, the United Kingdom, and France. The division of Berlin eventually led to the Berlin Airlift in 1948, a massive humanitarian and logistical effort by the Allies to supply West Berlin, which was blockaded by the Soviet Union. The Battle of Berlin and the end of World War II in Europe had far-reaching consequences, reshaping the political, social, and economic landscape of Europe and the world. The end of the war brought to light the horrifying extent of the Holocaust, exposing the full scale of Nazi atrocities and the Holocaust's devastating impact on millions of lives. Berlin, like much of Europe, faced an extensive period of reconstruction and recovery following the war. Efforts were made to rebuild the city and restore normalcy. The Battle of Berlin remains a crucial historical event, symbolizing the defeat of Nazi Germany and the end of World War II in Europe. It marked a new era in global politics and has left a lasting impact on the world's collective memory.